Eddie, what are your thoughts what happened this weekend with Amir Khan?
I think that it's tough for us to criticise, really, because I thought he was very brave in the fight. You know, like most people, he got a heavy knockdown in the first round, but he was always trying in the fight. He was always trying to engage. He was always jumping in. He was always putting himself at risk to get knocked out. And I think I was noticing that in the corner, in the rounds previously, just every round, he just looked like he was more war-torn. And I felt like there was a very good chance that he was going to get stopped in that fight quite soon. And I think Virgil's made a decision to stop that from happening. I don't see anything wrong with that. The problem is that when you do a pay-per-view fight, you're always up against it from the fans. People are paying a lot more money than they do normally, so they want blood. They want to see the clinical ending. They want to see the knockout. And I think with Amir Khan, that's what he does, but that's what, you know, he's in unbelievable fights. He's been knocked out before. People were watching that fight going, I think Amir's going to get knocked out in a minute, and they wanted to see that. He got hit very low, and I just think it was a timing thing where Virgil sort of looked at Amir and felt, does he really want to continue? I don't think so. But I don't believe, you know, people say that Amir's a coward. He's not a coward. You know, he's a brave guy. He's fought the best. And if you watch the fight back, like in that round, he was doing quite well. He was jumping in, and I was almost watching it going, oh, because he leaps in, bop, 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 you know, and he puts himself at risk. But that's what people like. So to see it end like that, when people have paid all that money, it's not good news for the show in general. But that's a problem. Now I feel it when I do a pay-per-view show. You're almost praying that it's a great fight, or, you know, it's a clinical ending, because you don't want people to start moaning. And that's what they're going to do, especially when they're having to fork out all that money.
With Amir, with that ending, does a Kell Brook Amir Khan fight, I guess, still maybe not salvageable is the word?
It's
but
still there. It's not as big. It's not as big. But I think Kell might fight Crawford. I mean, that seems to be the fight that he wants at the moment. I don't think that Kell really wants the marking time fights anymore. He just wants to jump into the biggest fights possible. But, you know, Crawford's going to want the big fights, the big fights, but it's very difficult for Top Rank to deliver those big fights.
Kell Brook, you mentioned, would he be coming down to welterweight?
He would do to fight Crawford. It's not ideal for him. I mean, he can do it, but, you know, really, I believe he's kind of stuck in the middle, to be honest with you. But it's hard for him to make 147. Hard. But if he's got enough time, he can do it.
Today we just learned that Gennady left the contract.
Yes.
Abel. You just found out.
Chris Mannix told me just when I finished that interview. Yeah.
I think when he told you.
I was quite surprised. I mean, was he in New York with him?
No. He wasn't at that presser either.
Huh.
He just made an IG post about it. He said it's a personal decision and a career-wise decision.
I saw Abel's quotes from Chris Mannix. Said it was about money.
Already?
Yeah, I think so.
It was about what, money?
Money.
Money between who?
Abel and Gennady. That's what Abel said. I look at this side. I don't like to get.
Tom still with Gennady?
Yeah, he's involved. Yeah, I mean, look, when we had we had meetings, me and John Skipper with Gennady and his team, and Tom, and you know, Tom's definitely involved. I mean, you saw him at the presser, you know, doing his thing. But Gennady's definitely steering the ship. I don't know what's happened with him and Abel. You know, it's a strange time to change trainers. But you know, if he feels like he's going to be better, it doesn't sound like it was a technical thing or it was a improvement thing. It was obviously just a dispute about something, maybe a deal or something like that.
Eddie, leaving a trainer at 37 years old.
Yeah, it's not. But you know, I said earlier in that interview is just because you're 37 and just because you've only got 5 or 6 fights left doesn't mean you can't stop trying to improve or be the best. So if you feel like you can improve with another trainer, I've seen so many fighters in the past stay with a trainer for that exact reason. Yeah, but you know, he's been good. I'm at the end now. I'll just stay. Where really, you know, who knows what a new trainer could have brought to their career. So it surprised me though, because I thought those two were ultra tight. You know,
Who could be his trainer?
Good question. There's a lot of good trainers in America. There's a lot of understated trainers. I mean, there's a trainer called Shadid Saluki. Most of you may not have even heard of him, but he trains Anthony Sims Jr. He trains Mike Perez. He trained Lamont Brewster. You know, he's like, there's a lot of guys that don't like the limelight, that you don't really get to know about because they're not putting themselves out there.
Like a Buddy McGirt or something.
Yeah, Buddy McGirt's a good trainer. You know, Danny Jacobs trains a great trainer. John David Jackson, Freddie Roach. You know, there's loads of guys, but it's a preference thing, isn't it? I don't know. I mean, he's going to want to stay in LA, I think, with his family set up. So.
Abel seemed to be a big kind of mouthpiece, almost a promoter as well.
Yeah, he was. Yeah.
I mean, I feel like that might have some effect as well on Triple G as well. Would you think?
Yeah, maybe. I don't know. I mean, they're all questions for Triple G. We can only speculate. I wouldn't like to say something that would upset someone, especially not Gennady, because I like him a lot. No, but he's a very classy guy, so it's his business, and it's just, I don't know, sad really, because they were a great team.
Can you speak about the recent selection of the Canelo Jacobs judges? I think it was one judge from the first fight, the Canelo Golovkin fight.
Steve Weisfield, Glenn Feldman, and Moretti.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I believe it's the same panel as the last fight, actually, identically.
Yeah, it's a rematch, yeah.
To be honest with you, they're 3 outstanding judges, and we're very happy with that selection. I mean, Glenn Feldman is an outstanding judge. Steve Weisfield is an outstanding judge, and so is Moretti. So, although they might have given a score in the first fight that some didn't agree with, I completely 100% trust those guys to do the right thing and make sure Danny Jacobs wins that fight by any means possible. I'm joking. No, I just think they're really good, honest judges, and I stand by that. And after the fight, if there's a controversial decision, I don't have any feeling that anything untoward. I mean, I don't get that feeling anyway. Like, people talk about, boxing's corrupt. It's like, I can tell you, I think I'd know, and it's not. But hometown fighters, big name fighters, do sometimes get the rub of the green. But sometimes it can work the other way. Maybe this is a close fight, and maybe they give it to Danny Jacobs this time around. But I know those 3 judges are honest people, and I expect them to make the right decision next Saturday.
Just having now experienced the United States boxing platform and scenery, how much do you feel corruption is in play at all? Like, ever?
No. I mean, look, this is a different market. I think you've got a more of a PED problem than the UK boxing.
In the United States, there's more of a
for
PED
sure.
problem
There's no testing. There's no testing at all. Outside of big fights, as in, the main fights having VADA testing, generally there's no testing. You're completely left to your own devices. So a lot of these kids coming through right now, they don't get tested. So how do we know? Look at Jarrell Miller. Jarrell Miller signed up for VADA testing. Like, to a program where he knew he was going to get tested every week, maybe every day. And he failed 3 different substances. That was a guy who knew he was being VADA tested. What about if you know you're definitely not? And it's not you might get tested, you might not. It's just you definitely won't get tested. Apart from on the night, which is a complete joke, complete waste of time. So I think, and in the UK, the British Boxing Board of Control has every fighter sign up to UCAD for random testing. You're not going to get as tested as often as you are under the VADA program that we do for big fights, but at least you've got the fear. I mean, hopefully that's enough to deter people. But then Jarrell Miller had the fear, and look what he did. But I just think that going back to corruption, no, I don't, I don't believe in that. I've never seen it. I don't believe it exists. But the PED thing, I think, is a major problem, and I think people have got to act.
Yeah, it's not going to win any brownie points saying that there's a bigger PEDs.
It's just the truth. I'm not here to win brownie points. I'm just telling you the truth. Of course, there's going to be a bigger problem because it's about 10 times the size of the UK. I don't know how much bigger is, but there's no testing. So of course there's going to be a bigger problem.
Is that something that you plan on changing?
Trying, but I don't really know what the answer is. It's very expensive. You're talking about $40,000 a fight to get tested properly in the way that you should be tested. So you can't do that through the whole bill. But we try for every main fight to have VADA testing in place. But every promoter's got to do it. And some fighters don't want to sign up to VADA. Some types. I'm not talking about. I mean, the WBC do a good job, but it's not. Like, I've got a lot of fighters that are with the WBC that are on the VADA list that have never been tested. So the only way to do it really is to pay for what we do on the big fights, which is every week, sometimes twice a day, or 3 times in 2 days. You just don't know. It's the only way. You can't escape. But think of all the fighters in the US. How many are being tested? I don't know, 10%? Like, it's frightening.
With the rise of streaming, obviously, you know, you sort of jumped on that wagon quickly with the Zone, but now we see like Disney Plus, Apple Plus, others, you know, bigger companies, you know, entering the streaming field. How do you feel about the Zone moving up their price point to $20? How do you feel about it competing with ESPN Plus, obviously owned by Disney, and them opening their own streaming platform? You know, how do you feel about the competition right now in the streaming wars?
I think it's great for the content providers, like.
Hey Fight fans, it's Michelle Joy Phelps. If you haven't already subscribed to my YouTube channel, make sure you go ahead and do so by clicking this icon right here and hit the bell button so you can get notified every time we upload a new video. And we also have a free app available on iTunes and Google Play, so make sure you go and download that. Bye Fight fans.